My husband's affair led to twin boys. After he and his mistress died, his parents expect me to raise them. So, my wife of 23 years went and hooked up with some 20-year-old chick back in 2020, and they ended up having twin boys, and now our folks are pushing me to take care of those kids after both my wife and that young gal died in a car wreck. Hey there, everybody, I'm 49, been hitched to my wife who's 45 for over 2 decades, and she started messing around with this girl half her age, and I only found out this year when those twin boys popped out in March, and yeah, divorce was definitely on the table. We've been battling it out ever since. Took forever because we own some stuff together, even had to bring in an accountant since she was dipping into our joint bank account to fund her fling. Things were finally wrapping up when bam, my wife and her side piece got killed in a crash. Somehow those little babies made it out fine. Now they've got no parents, and nobody's stepping up long term. My wife's mom and dad are stuck in an assisted living place. She's got no brothers or sisters. There's an aunt who could have helped, but she's all about that no kids life. And over on the other gal's side, I don't know the whole deal, but her parents can't handle it forever either, and her only sister's way off overseas. Now since my wife didn't change her will and we were still legally tied, everything she had is coming to me and our 2 kids. I ain't heartless. So I figured whoever ends up raising those boys can have what's left in our shared savings, about 25 grand. Problem is nobody wants the job, and my wife's parents keep leaning on me to take them in, but man, I just can't do it. I wouldn't have any love for them, don't want to be the mean old stepdad. And deep down I'd probably hold a grudge against them forever. I'd end up putting my own kids first every time. It ain't their fault, I get that. I really loved my wife. Thought we had a good thing going until this mess blew up. We've got 2 girls, 14 and 16. Sure, we argued now and then, but it never got nasty until I learned about her cheating. Then she started tearing into me, saying it was my fault she strayed. Got real nasty. Even tried to boot me out of the house I grew up in, which ain't even joint property, just so you know. Now I'm stuck raising our teenagers solo. I'm wiped out. No energy left to deal with babies. My girls can't stand those little brothers. I pushed them to hang out with their mom during the divorce, but they weren't having it. They found out about all this because of the twins. No way to soft pedal that, and they're old enough to see through any excuses. Most of my buddies say it ain't my responsibility to look after those kids, but my wife's folks, the other gal's parents, and even my own mom think I should step up. I know my mom's just crazy for more grandkids, but it stings she ain't backing me up. I've got till next week to figure this out, or those boys are headed to foster care. Right now they're with the gal's parents short term. I feel rotten about it, but I'm dead certain I can't handle them. Am I a jerk for saying no? Okay, quick follow-up. Hey y'all, this thing got way bigger than I expected. Thanks for all the good vibes for my daughters, the twins, and me. And man, it's awesome seeing folks offering to take those boys in. I ain't their dad, but it warms my heart knowing good people are out there. I chewed on this hard, talked to my lawyer, read what people said, did some digging, and tomorrow I'm telling the grandparents I ain't taking legal custody of those kids. I'll pass along names of folks who offered to adopt or foster them, but my girls come first. It's up to the twins' grandparents to pick adoption, keep them, or hand them over to the state. I wish I had it in me to be the guy who steps up, but my daughters are dealing with a ton, and they need me all in. I'm gonna chat with the lawyers to see if those boys have any legal claim to my wife's stuff. If they do, I'll split it off and let the pros handle getting it to them when the time's right. If not, I'll make sure they get that 25 grand I promised from the start. But that's it, I ain't going further. Maybe my sense of right and wrong's off, but I don't reckon I've got to do more than the law says, legally or otherwise. I can't fix everything for everybody, and I shouldn't have to. My girls lost their mom, they need counseling, they're gearing up for college. They've been through enough without me playing favorites with their mom's affair kids. Here's the next bit. So like I said a couple nights back, I went and met with the twins' grandparents yesterday, laid it out straight that I ain't taking custody of those boys. My wife's mom nearly took a swing at me right there, but lucky for me we were out in public and her husband held her back. The gal's parents kept begging me to take them, saying they didn't want to lose the kids. I just kept saying no way. Then they called me selfish and I blew my top, told them flat out the only selfish ones here were them and their kids, my wife for stepping out on me and making the divorce a nightmare for me and my girls, and their daughter for chasing a married woman twice her age. I warned them if they contact me again I'm getting a cease and desist order. Told my wife's parents they're cut off from seeing my daughters for a good long while. I'll get to why soon. We were at a diner but I didn't stick around to eat. Sent my lawyer an email to make sure Child Protective Services and anybody else knows I'm not the guardian and I'm out of it. Then fired off another email to my in-laws with names and sites from folks online who said they'd look into adopting the twins. That's where I'm done. So even though it's nice of y'all, I can't help if you're looking to take the boys. Yesterday was my last day in this mess. Now about why my in-laws ain't seeing my girls. I sat down with my daughters before that meeting to hear them out. My youngest clammed up, which ain't like her at all. Then My oldest pulled me aside for a one-on-one. She spilled that my in-laws were telling them they'd have to switch to public school from their private one, get jobs right after graduation. Also I could pay for the twins' fancy schooling in college, even said they'd need to bunk together since the boys would need the space. My girls each got their own rooms. I had no clue about this, cause that was never gonna happen. Turns out my in-laws were hounding them, acting like the babies mattered more. No chance I'm letting that fly. I told my girls their grandparents don't call the shots on school, college money, or how our house runs. I did say a part-time gig in college and maybe a scholarship wouldn't hurt, but I've got their tuition covered. Told them not to hate the babies for the grown-ups' dumb moves. They said they get it but ain't ready to deal with their brothers yet. That yet gives me a little hope they'll come around. For now we're shaking things up at home, my girls and me. Don't like that my wife's old office is still sitting there, so we're turning it into a gaming spot for us. I'm taking down her pictures and sticking them in albums for the girls. We just want the place to feel like ours. Folks asking why my daughters cut their mom off, it's cause they're the ones who caught her cheating. She dragged them to meet the twins at the hospital and told them to keep quiet, but they came straight to me. After that she treated them like dirt, burned every bridge with them. Real quick heads up, some people won't quit bugging me in private messages, so I talked to my lawyer Monday. Those boys don't got a claim on anything till a DNA test happens, and even then it'd only be against my in-laws. The joint account's mine since it wasn't just her money. Same with the lake house, her personal savings and life insurance went to her folks. That's all the twins might get. Could change if it hits court, but my lawyer says since she left me and my girls so little, no judge is likely to touch our stuff. He also told me to drop any plan to give the boys cash, said it could look like I'm stepping up for them and get me stuck as their guardian. So I'm splitting that joint account money for my daughter's college. Still not sure if I'll sell the lake house, but me and the girls don't care about it. Quit hassling me about what the boys get. It's a shame, but my wife screwed things up for her own kids. I ain't on the hook for them. Don't gotta give up what's mine to set them up. Moving on, got some good and some irritating news. The good part is Child Protective Services took the boys from the gal's parents safe and sound. They're headed to foster care till something permanent gets sorted. I found out cause her folks and my mom showed up at my job yelling at me. Honestly, I'm glad it wasn't at home. Got me thinking about moving so my daughters don't have to deal with this crap. Then right after, I got a call asking about me wanting to foster or adopt. Turns out somebody sent my name to Child Protective Services saying I was interested in taking the twins. I set them straight fast about what's up with me and the grandparents. The lady on the phone didn't know what to say at first. She said sorry and promised I wouldn't get more calls. Then this morning I got served papers. My in-laws are suing for grandparents' rights in custody. They're planning to ditch their assisted living spot, which they shouldn't, to buy a house where kids can live. Want the twins back. And now my daughters too. My lawyer jumped on it. Gave me some steps I ain't sharing to keep me and my girls safe in case this custody fight gets ugly. We figure my in-laws want my daughters to help look after the twins since they can barely move around. Over my dead body that's happening. I doubt Child Protective Services would even give them the boys. Some brighter stuff. I'm starting therapy next week. My oldest is talking about colleges again. We haven't really hashed out their mom or gotten them to visit her grave. I haven't been there myself. Still working on not calling her my wife. I didn't touch the funeral except to pay. Heard her folks put devoted and beloved wife, mother, and daughter on her stone. What a laugh. I know it's wrong to stay this mad, but when I get a minute I'm changing that stone to scratch off wife and mother. Might seem small-minded, but I ain't praising a cheater and abuser just cause she's gone. My girls deserved better, so did I, and if you're griping about me messing with the tombstone, I paid for it all, so shove it. Probably won't update again till this grandparents' rights mess is done. Big thanks to the nice folks sending support to me and my daughters. Maybe good news is coming, but I'm heading back to my old online account for now. Oh, extra bits, could I take the twins just for a bit till family steps in? Nope, don't want to. I'm 45, beat, work full-time, no time for babies, don't even have a sitter anymore. My girls can stay home alone after school till I'm off. Can't do that with infants, won't ask my daughters to watch them. They've got clubs and hangouts with friends. I ain't making them raise kids, can't take them, can't even lift them. They're innocent, but I'm done. If it was flipped, my girls would go to my cousin. That's always been our plan if me and my wife both kicked it. Sorry, the twins don't have that. But the more I think, the surer I am I can't handle them pushing my daughters to bond with their half-brothers. Tried it, they're teens, they know what cheating is. I ain't forcing them to like the babies. Therapy for my girls after all this? They're seeing a counselor, we talked about it. They hate the twins, not the kids' fault, but my daughters are mad and blaming. Don't want to pile more on them. What about my wife's will and the twins? Everything's in my name, only shared things the lake house, it's for sale. If somebody fights the will, I'll split it fair. Right now I don't owe nothing. Wasn't half and half, she cheated. Our prenup gave me most of it. The house I grew up in's mine from before. Cars are sold for my girl's college per her will. That 25 grand and half the lake house was hers. Her personal cash and insurance went to her parents. Nothing's set for the twins in the will. Only thing they'd get is that 25 grand I offered. Maybe fight for part of the lake house. That's all I'm doing. I made more money in our marriage. Divorce was giving me the bulk. My girls are college bound. I feel bad, but I ain't letting my daughters suffer. Don't expect them to love the twins right off. They're in therapy. Up to them if they ever want those boys in their lives. I hope they stop hating and see them as not to blame, but I won't make them call them family. I'm sticking to what my divorce and will lawyers say, nothing past the law. Don't matter if I deserved a faithful wife. My girls deserved a better mom. The twins get what the law gives. Last bit, October 17th, 2024. Hey folks, some of you've been asking what's up. Didn't have much till today. My wife's cousins took the boys in. I know them. Good people. They'll raise those twins right. They're calling themselves Matt and Kim. They told my daughters they can call anytime if they want to connect with their half-brothers, or just treat them like far-off cousins. My girls said thanks, but they ain't into the sibling thing now. Maybe cousins will work. I offered Matt and Kim the joint account cash since they're family. They said don't bother, they're good. Kim told me to take my girls and me on a trip, said I look half dead. They laid down the law with my in-laws and the gal's parents. Can see the boys but ain't grandparents. That sparked a blowout with the gal's folks. Matt and Kim cut them off. Some suing threats flew but fizzled. Turns out the gal's dad's a felon, got done for abuse, won't spill more out of respect. But if it's true what Matt and Kim said, I'm glad the boys ain't near that guy. His wife only had them cause of the crash and finding kin. She'd have to ditch him for full custody and wouldn't. My in-laws saw threats weren't working, settled for great uncle roles, fine by them. Now they want to move in with me and my girls since they left assisted living and their old spot's full. It's a long wait place. Me and my wife paid 5 years up front for them. 2 years were left. I was gonna keep paying, but after all they've pulled on me and my daughters, I'd sooner torch cash than help. They want us to tend to them. No way, my girls got their own roads, and honestly, I'm thinking about dating again. Might seem fast, but I've been letting go since I found out she cheated. Don't think she earns my grieving. I mourn this already. My oldest says so too. She's pushing me to get out there. We've still got this custody lawsuit with my in-laws and some loose ends. I'll update when there's more. Just wanted y'all to know the boys are safe and set. Oh, comments I answered. Somebody said me and my daughters seem solid. Glad the boys got a good spot and might still link with their half-sisters friendly like. Better than they hoped. Happy for us. Even my in-laws who might not land so soft. I said they've got enough cash to find a place. They're rotten, but if they were broke I'd chip in for a decent spot. Up to them now. Another asked why my in-laws bailed on their paid-up home. Did I get the 2 years back? Big bucks? I said nope. They ditched it fast for their custody scheme. Lawyers checking if we can grab that cash. Probably not since they broke the deal. Yeah, about 180 grand. My wife's dad's near blind with a bum knee, can't move much. Her mom's got a bad back. Both diabetic with more problems. They can't live solo, need a caretaker wherever. That's why we got them a good place. If they didn't get her savings and insurance I'd feel stuck. But they got plenty to live comfy if they don't blow it. If they do, that's on them. Only if they had nothing from the start would I step in. So here's the latest scoop as of October 17th, 2024. Hey y'all. Some folks kept asking me what's new, and I didn't have much to tell until today hit. My ex-wife's cousin stepped up and took those twin boys in. I've met them before, real decent people. They're gonna give those kids a solid life. They go by Matt and Kim. They reached out to my daughters, told them they can ring up anytime if they want to talk to their half-brothers. Or just think of them as cousins way down the line. My girls said thanks, but they're not feeling the brother vibe right now. Maybe cousins could work someday. I told Matt and Kim they could have the cash from our old joint account since they're family. They brushed it off, said they're fine without it. Kim even told me to take my daughters and me on a getaway with that money. Said I look like I've been run over twice. They laid down some hard rules with my ex-wife's parents and the gal's folks too. Said they can visit the boys but don't get to play grandparents. That stirred up a mess with the gal's parents. Matt and Kim ended up cutting them out completely. There was some noise about suing for grandparents' rights, but it didn't go anywhere. Turns out I learned why the gal's folks couldn't keep the boys for good. Her dad's got a rap sheet, convicted for some abuse stuff. I ain't gonna dig into it out of respect, but if what Matt and Kim told me holds up, I'm relieved those kids won't be around that guy growing up. The only reason his wife had them for a bit was cause their parents died sudden and they needed kin to step in. She'd have had to split from her husband to keep them full-time, and she wasn't up for that. My ex-in-laws figured out their threats weren't gonna fly, so they settled for being great uncles instead. Good for them I suppose. Now they're asking to move in with me and my girls since they ditched their assisted living place not long ago. And that spot's got no openings left, it's got a crazy long waitlist, me. And my ex-wife got them in their years back by paying 5 years ahead, they still had 2 years covered, and I was planning to keep footing the bill, but after all the garbage they've pulled on me and my daughters, I'd rather chuck that money in a fire pit than hand it over. I know they're hoping me and my girls will take care of them, not a chance in hell. My daughters got their own lives to live, and truth be told, I'm thinking about putting myself back out there, maybe meet somebody new. Might sound like I'm jumping the gun, but I've been trying to move past this since I found out she cheated. I don't reckon my ex deserves me moping around for her. I already grieved what we had, least that's what my oldest daughter tells me. She's even been nudging me to hit the town and find someone. We're still stuck with this custody lawsuit my ex-in-laws are pushing, plus a couple other headaches I'll fill you in on when there's more to say. Just wanted y'all to know the boys are safe and settled. Oh, some stuff I replied to online. Somebody said me and my daughter seem like we're holding it together pretty good. Happy the boys found a safe home and might still have some kind of chill tie with their half-sisters. Said it turned out better than they figured. Glad for us all, even my ex-in-laws who might not land in such a cushy spot. I told them my ex-in-laws got enough dough to find somewhere to live. They're awful, but if they ended up on the street I'd cough up cash for a half decent place. It's their move now. Another guy asked why my ex-in-laws walked away from their prepaid setup. Did I get back the 2 years they didn't use? Said that's a chunk of change. I said nah, they bailed quick to chase their custody idea. I'm checking with my lawyer if we can claw back that money, but it's a long shot since they're the ones who broke it off. Yeah, about 180 grand. My ex-father-in-law's half blind with a busted knee, barely gets around. My ex-mother-in-law's got back trouble, both of them deal with diabetes and other junk. No way they can hack it alone, they need somebody watching them wherever they go. That's why me and my ex found them a solid place. If they didn't get her savings and life insurance I'd feel like I had to help, but they got a fat stack from her, enough to be said if they don't waste it. If they blow through it, that's their problem. I'd only step in if they were flat broke from the jump.